Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and I just wanted to make a follow-up video to the video that I did last night that was like a reaction video to that update that they just put out. And actually, while I do this reaction, is while I, do this clarification, which again is going to be off the cuff, not really going to cut in or anything out or whatever. I'm just going to be speaking. We're actually watching Watson play in a pub right now, so this is good. I wasn't really sure how this would be affecting everything going forward, but apparently you can still go to the watch tab and watch people live. So I guess that is still good, and you can still see that this is Watson playing Abaddon carry. So hey, at least there's that. You can actually watch good players live at the very least. But I will say, to start it off, I was wrong about one kind of big aspect of the update, which I kind of forgot about, is that if you are a pro player, or just anyone in general, you can make your name like an official name, quote unquote, that displays in the game and like on replays and everything like that. But then that's different than your Steam name. That's always kind of been a thing, at least for a long time now. So that's how like Arteezy could still be Arteezy or something in the pro game, but then, and then they even have like the little tags and the name for sponsorships or whatever. That's how they used to have that. But then you could still change your Steam name. So that's what they were referring to when they were saying like your official name, which I was thinking was more of some kind of like privacy thing where they're making it, your actual real life name, which I was kind of like, so I overreacted a little bit there. But I will say that the same thing still applies, I would say, in the fact that you can't change that name anymore, and you're probably going to be picking whatever username, that you want, and now you can't change it. So even though it's not nearly, like, in terms of 100%, like, if it was, you just had to, like, I don't know, provide your driver's license or something and give them your real name, like, let's say that was 100% the worst-case scenario. This is maybe only 10%, so it's not really anything. But it is kind of annoying that that is the case, that now your account has this name that's tied to it that you can never change. That is a little bit weird. But that does end up making it like maybe there is a little bit more accountability and stuff like for, either win trading or doing whatever, any kind of like griefing, things like that. So that could be a general positive, but that is even almost worse for the other thing that they implemented, which is the real bad part, which was the lack of API access, replays, all that kind of stuff. That's the real thing that is not going to be good. That's the real thing that I and pretty much everyone else is complaining about and saying this just benefits nobody. And I honestly don't think it really benefits anyone other than the 0.000001% of players that are actually in pro teams. And even those players, I don't really think it benefits that much either, because technically people are saying, well, they can hide strats, but it's like, I mean, not really, because they're not playing as a team. So strats are usually team-based. They also play scrims. That's a completely different thing. And those usually aren't easily publicly accessible because they will often play scrims on a separate account that you don't even know is theirs and stuff like that. So they've already hid scrims to begin with. And that's where the real strats come out. And then the other thing is that people are also saying, so I don't really even think that's a benefit. So I don't really see that this is a benefit much at all to higher MMR players. I really don't think it does much of anything in that regard. And then the other thing is the meta. Everyone's saying, well, now the meta won't get like as figured out as quickly. It won't be, it won't get stale as quickly. All these things, people won't be picking all the same stuff. And you won't be forced into the same builds at 2K MMR or whatever. And I would say this is also just completely wrong. So Dota 2 Pro Tracker is still going to exist. It's just going to be for all the Immortal players that are not 8.5K and above. And all of the builds are still going to be there. They're just going to be a little bit less accurate and less consistent. And it's going to be a little bit harder, or in some cases very hard, to figure out very specific things that you want to copy or play styles that you can emulate. And this game is also so complicated that the only reason, people kind of misunderstanding, the only reason actually that you go the same item build every time, and the only reason you go the same skill build every time, like the pros would, is so that you can build a baseline understanding of the bigger strategic things in the game and the more important concepts that the hero has, and you don't have to actually focus on those smaller, more, let's say, insignificant minutia, or actually they are significant, but these other things that you're not really going to be able to figure out yourself if you don't understand this bigger picture. So kind of to put it in a different way, you are not going to be able to figure out what is the best item to buy in what specific situation you're going to be in based on matchups, based on game state, all that stuff. You're never going to be able to figure that out if you don't understand the deeper aspects of the strategy of the game on the specific hero that you're playing in that specific role, in those specific matchups, and so forth. And so that's why you need kind of a baseline that you can just follow so that you can get used to those things, you can learn those things, and then you can start adjusting after you, not even necessarily that you hit a certain MMR, but that you hit a certain skill level of understanding. And that's the key, is that if you don't have that, it's going to hurt your ability to actually learn. Now, that still, again, is not really going to be a big deal because you're still going to have the builds, you're still going to have all these things. So it's not, my point overall in saying that is this idea that, oh, well, now we're just going to be able to get the random, like, and I can just build whatever items I want. Well, no, that's literally not going to be, there's nothing is going to change in that regard. The meta's still going to be there. Maybe it's going to take a little bit longer to figure out or something, but not really even that much. It's just going to be not as accurate, a little bit more imperfect, and just more annoying to get the information. That's the thing. The information is going to be out there. There's going to be the ways to figure the stuff out, and the people that care are going to still build correctly and going to find the information to do it. Like, that's what's going to happen regardless. And now it's just more annoying for people to find that stuff. And actually, for the most part, anybody that's playing the game more casually is actually going to be at a detriment because you're not going to have the time and the energy to actually look up everything and figure it out yourself and go to all the resources, because in the past you could just go to Dota 2 Pro Tracker, you could just look up your favorite heroes or know the people that were like very good at Invoker and find the replays and copy them and figure that out if you wanted to learn the game. Now you can't do any of that. It's going to take a lot longer, a lot more time, a lot more energy to research who's good at what and how their play style is and all that kind of stuff, and then watch the replays. There's just going to be more that goes into it, which just adds a level of complexity where the people that are really going to want to do that are still going to do it, and it's just going to be harder for everyone to do it. So all these things, I just don't think, I don't think it is what you think it is. It's only 8.5K and above. So it'd be different if, hey, okay, well, we're just completely deleting the replay system for anybody, like a public replay system. And then like now the meta isn't figured out by anybody and it's like a weird trickle down effect. If that was the case, sure. Or even if it was like below 4K, maybe the replays are public or whatever. Then it's like, okay, yeah, now what you're saying is right. The meta is only going to be established very slowly and people won't figure it out. But even then, at the end of the day, we're talking about all this theoretically. How does that benefit the game at all? Again, this is a competitive game. I understand that you want to like mess around and have fun and like do funny builds. You can totally do that in unranked. You can totally like get a party of people together and do that, which is also the other problem. That the real problem here with what you're wanting is you're wanting times to not be as serious, and that is what Valve could be fixing in a different way. Party gameplay, where you kind of try different strats and there's not as many stakes, or just kind of more casual game modes, casual gameplay. That's kind of one part that you want. And the other thing is that Valve could do something to help party gameplay, to help more casual gameplay. But now, all that they've done for the last however many years, 10 years, for the history of the game, really is make it solo ranked queue is the only thing that anybody cares about. Because naturally, this is a competitive game, so you're going to have to put extra effort in to get people to care about things that aren't the competitive aspect. And they just don't care about that. They're not going to do that. So that's the real solution to those things that you're asking about. And in general, then when it comes to the ranked part, the solo ranked, actually being good, learning how to play the game, playing it, you know, I'm not saying professionally necessarily, we're not all going to be pros, but someone that actually wants to, even if they're young, you know, get good enough. Some people can eventually be pros. Like, this is something people do aspire to and want to get good enough. And that's kind of the whole point of the game in general. So you're not going to stop that from being the point of this game. If this game wasn't competitive and it wasn't this strategy game, then it wouldn't be the game that it is and people wouldn't like it. If it was just this weird casual thing, it would not be popular, and that's the whole point. So yeah, I mean, in short, it's all of those, not complaints, but counter arguments or whatever. I just don't think they fly, or they really don't pass the test when you really think about them critically, because this is a competitive game. It's always going to be a competitive game. People are going to do this stuff regardless. You're just making the information harder to get access to for really no benefit to anybody. And anyone that's saying that this is a benefit to the 8.5K plus players, I don't think it is. I think it's more negative, if anything. I don't think it really actually does anything substantial to them. There's way more things that they could implement that are actually better overall for those higher MMR players if they do have issues. And then overall, I would rather see some kind of implementation of systems that allow more casual play or more party play to actually fix some of those other issues that people feel with the fact that it really does feel like it's only solo ranked that means anything, which is totally true. So anyway, that's kind of the things I wanted to respond to. And obviously overall, I was making a rant. I'd kind of did a little clickbait title, of course. Yeah, Dota's not dead, but this is my overall point kind of stands is that these kinds of things that Valve does, and they routinely have been doing over the last few years, is just a bad sign for continuing to go forward the things that they like. Twofold. One, it feels a lot like they just implement stuff as an experiment. Like they don't really care about any aspect of the game, whether it's competitive or the pubs or really anything other than just kind of putting in systems randomly to do almost a social experiment or to gather data for some other project or whatever. And then it just doesn't show any, like, second, it doesn't show any future confidence in the game in how they implement things, because it really feels like twofold. They just, I mean, the whole last year was a big, you know, all this energy and time spent for cosmetics and random story stuff that really is irrelevant to the actual meat and potatoes of the game, if you want to call it that. Which, I said in the video, it's fine if you want to do that, but it's not fine when you ignore the other aspects of the game that are important and you don't address these things that actually can make the game better for the things that people actually play it for, and then you waste all this time and energy and money doing other things. So that's kind of the biggest problem, is that it shows a lack of real, trust, or a lack of commitment to doing anything that is going to sustain the game in a longer term fashion. And anyone that's really been paying attention to Dota in general just kind of can see that over the last few years. And that's just what concerns me. And the thing is, it's not anything super drastic, and I don't think there will ever be a time, because with a lot of things like this, people do like to get, and myself included, because I have an incentive to kind of just bait people in and just do a little bit of an overreactions. But it is one of those things where it never really comes on all at once. Usually it's like a slow thing. It's a slow decline. It's a slow trickling, or like a receding, or all these kinds of things that eventually this kind of stuff just happens more and more, and there's just more decisions being made that nobody really wanted or asked for, or that don't really have any implementation or any real positive consequences. And, it just, over time, this just gets worse and worse, and more bad things are implemented until eventually less things are implemented altogether, and then nothing really happens, and then we're stuck with the game however it is. And so that's kind of what I obviously don't want, but I feel like is going to be the state of the game within the next 5 years. I just think that in the next 5 years, it's going to be kind of that way. And we'll see when Deadlock actually does come out what the reception of that is, and then how that succeeds in general, and then what they do with Dota going forward. Because, I mean, again, I don't want to make this video too long because I'm just reacting to what happened last time, so I could talk more about that in general, but I won't do that right now. But yeah, it's just that these kinds of changes just show, I think, a lack of care or respect for the community in general, and they just kind of like to do things to just almost experiment on us like we're a bunch of little guinea pigs in their little, like, pool, and they just want to see what happens or something. I don't know. They just want to do random shit just to try it out and be like, oh, this would be cool. Let's get some data about this and blah, blah, blah. Like, let's see what social experiment we can do over here. And I don't know. And not even that, like, for instance, another good example is when they implemented Glicko. I think that's actually better. I think they improved that. But it's still, like, I don't know if the Glicko thing, which maybe there's other people that don't like it, maybe if that ended up being bad or something. And like the Immortal draft, I think, is also a good example that people don't like that. People would probably, most higher MMR people that I've heard don't like a system. They also, like I said, ruin the game with double downs in terms of MMR. It means nothing anymore. So it's not like they're going to go back on any of this. They haven't unimplemented any of those things. So it's all just an experiment. And if the Glicko thing failed and was terrible, it's not like they're going to go back on it. So yeah, that's the big sign. It's more just like a trend, a general, not even just this specific change, which is bad, but also not the biggest deal in the world. It is just annoying that these kinds of things seem to be happening more often, and this is the general idea or philosophy, I guess you would say, of how they're dealing with the game going forward. So, anyway, that's the reaction to the reaction. That's the follow-up video. And like I said, I was wrong about that one thing about the name, and I also obviously clearly overreacted just in the moment because it was such a surprise, and just like, why are they doing it? It just makes me mad that, like, they do things like that, which it just are completely ridiculous for me, just feel like there's no reason to do them and no one's asking for it. And it's not an improvement in any real realistic sense when they don't do other things for the game, and then they ruin matchmaking anyway. They do the double downs anyway. Like, they do all these other things. So anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think with the follow-up or any other things with this clarification, or how you think Dota's going to react in the future with, with Deadlock. Let me know specifically about Deadlock, because I didn't hear too many people talk about that, and I was talking in the Discord a little bit about it. So let me know what you think is going to happen with Dota as Deadlock comes out, or if Deadlock does well or not, because that's going to be an interesting thing that happens within the next few years. So anyway, guys, hope you like the tier list this week at the very least, because I'm also releasing those. I'm also streaming tonight, so 8 o'clock every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be still doing coaching for the foreseeable future, since I had so many people ask for coaching. So be sure to tune in for that as well. So anyway, guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.